Jesus walks his disciples through Galilee and teaches them. He predicts his death and resurrection, but they didn't understand and were afraid to ask what he meant. When they arrive at Capernaum, Jesus lets them know that he overheard them arguing about which one of them was the greatest. He sits down and once again turns everything on its head by saying, "Anyone who wants to be the first must be the very last and the servant of all." He holds a child and says to them, "Whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me does not welcome me, but the one who sent me." John tattles to Jesus about some folks he saw driving out demons in Jesus' name, saying, "We told them to stop." Jesus is like, "Why did you tell them to stop? We're on the same team." Jesus goes back to the child, saying that it would be better to die terribly than to cause a child to stumble. He then goes on to say if their hand or foot or eye causes them to sin, they should cut it off and get rid of it, because it's better to be crippled and live than to have 2 feet in hell, or Gehenna. Here's some observations about Gehenna from this passage. We see that every time Jesus refers to Gehenna, he's talking to religious people, and he's making references to sinful behavior. None of these times is he speaking to unbelievers, or referring specifically about unbelievers. And for that matter, none of these references are made in regard to one's lack of belief. All of his references to Gehenna can really be seen as references to a literal location, a burning garbage dump where bodies are filled with maggots, or worms that appear to come from nowhere and not to die, transforming into flies. A burning garbage dump where bodies are filled with maggots and are consumed in the flames. If we take a closer look at this passage from Mark, which is one of the most often quoted passages used to support Gehenna as a place of eternal punishment, Jesus refers to it as where the worms that eat them do not die, and the fire is not quenched. This is a direct quote from Isaiah 66, where the prophet describes the view of the fallen Assyrian army in the Hinnom Valley, or Hell Valley in rough English, saying, "And they will go out and look on the dead bodies of those who rebelled against me. The worms that eat them will not die, and the fire that burns them will not be quenched, and they will be loathsome to all mankind." In this passage, it's a view of dead bodies on a funeral pyre full of maggots being burned into ash. Jesus then states that everyone will be salted with fire. Salt is good, but if it loses its saltiness, how can you make it salty again? Have salt among yourselves, and be at peace with each other.